Happy New Year! Welcome to the 27th lecture of this lecture series regarding international arbitration practice. This lecture is a part of Chapter 2 on invoking arbitration, both in international commercial arbitrations and international investment arbitrations. Lectures 19 to 22 dealt with invoking arbitration in international commercial arbitration, while lectures 23 to 26 dealt with invoking arbitration in international investment arbitration. In lecture 26, we started off with the checklist for invoking ICSID arbitration. We finished the first two of the 12-part checklist. In this lecture, we continue to discuss the checklist, specifically the third and the fourth parts of the checklist, parties and statement of facts. In case you are here for the first time, do have a look at the previous lecture, whose link is in the description below, and then watch this lecture just to provide you with some context. The third part of the checklist relates to the parties. In this regard, Article 25 of the ICSID Convention relates to the jurisdiction of the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. Article 25(1) contemplates that the center's jurisdiction extends to a legal dispute directly arising out of investment between a contracting state and, importantly, a national of another contracting state. Therefore, it is important that the nationality requirement is to be satisfied to invoke ICSID jurisdiction. Also, Article 25(2) discusses in detail about nationality. Article 25(2)(a) deals with nationality of natural persons and states that the national of another contracting state means any natural person who had the nationality of a contracting state other than the state party to the dispute on the date on which the parties consented to submit such dispute to conciliation or arbitration, as well as on the date on which the request was registered pursuant to paragraph 3 of Article 28 or paragraph 3 of Article 36, but does not include any person who on either date also had the nationality of the contracting state party to the dispute. Article 25(2)(b) defines a national of another contracting state in terms of juridical persons in this way: any juridical person which had the nationality of a contracting state other than the state party to the dispute on the date on which the parties consented to submit such dispute to conciliation or arbitration, and any juridical person which had the nationality of the contracting state party to the dispute on that date and which, because of foreign control, the parties have agreed should be treated as a national of another contracting state for the purposes of this convention. Establishing ICSID jurisdiction by satisfying the nationality requirement is one of the primary aspects, and hence care should be taken to examine if the prospective claimant satisfies this. Otherwise, it would be a considerable waste of time, money, and resources. Now, ICSID Institution Rules 2022 deals with the content of the notice invoking arbitration. On natural persons, Rule 2(2)(c) states the request shall include: c. If a party is a natural person, 1. Information concerning that person's nationality on both the date of consent and the date of the request, together with supporting documents demonstrating such nationality, and 2. A statement that the person did not have the nationality of the contracting state party to the dispute either on the date of consent or the date of the request. Rule 2(2)(d) of the ICSID Institution Rules concerns contents of the notice of arbitration vis-a-vis juridical persons. It says, 2. The request shall include information concerning and supporting documents demonstrating that party's nationality on the date of consent, and if that party had nationality of the contracting state party to the dispute on the date of consent, information concerning and supporting documents demonstrating the agreement of the parties to treat the judicial person as a national of another contracting state pursuant to Article 25(2)(b) of the Convention. Rule 22E relates to a party being a constituent, subdivision, or agency of a contracting state. The requirements are: the request shall include E. If a party is a constituent, subdivision, or agency of a contracting state. 1. The state's designation to the center pursuant to Article 25(1) of the Convention. And 2. Supporting documents demonstrating the state's approval of consent pursuant to Article 25(3) of the Convention, unless the state has notified the center that no such approval is required. Now, these requirements are built into the checklist. Serial number 15 of the checklist relates to the claimant, jurisdiction of incorporation, and incorporation or registration number, etc. if a juristic entity, and its nationality as on the date of consent to arbitration. This is in line with Article 25(2)(b) ICSID Convention read with 22D(2) of the ICSID Institution Rules. Serial number 16 states that if the claimant, the judicial person, is a national of a host state party to the arbitration on the date of consent, information and documents demonstrating agreement of parties to treat the juridical person as a national of another contracting party to the ICSID. Again, this is in line with the same provisions. Serial number 17 requires mentioning of the names of the persons and entities that own or control a requesting party, which is a juridical person. This is in line with Rule 3B of the ICSID Institution Rules, which states it is recommended that the request B include the names of the persons and entities that own or control a requesting party, which is a juridical person. Serial number 18 of the checklist deals with natural persons and states that if the claimant is a natural person, her nationality on the date of consent to refer to arbitration and on the date of request. This is in line with Article 25(2)(a) of the ICSID Convention read with Rule 22C(1) of the ICSID Institution Rules. Serial number 19 provides for a declaration that the claimant is not a national of the host state. Typically, dash is not and never was a national of dash, the contracting state party to this dispute, which is a party to the convention since dash. Consistent with Article 25(2)(a) of the ICSID read with Rule 22C(2) of the ICSID Institution Rules. Serial number 20 relates to a party being a subdivision or agency of a contracting party, in which case the state's designation to the center, that is the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes, is to be mentioned. In addition, as required by serial number 21 of the checklist, if a party is a subdivision or agency of a contracting party, the state's approval of consent further to Article 25(3) of the ICSID is also to be mentioned, unless the state has notified that the center that no approval is required. All these are to be backed by supporting documents. In the chapter of the notice regarding parties, it would also be useful to mention about legal representation and related details. These are dealt with in serial number 22. Serial number 23 pertains to the details of contact for the purpose of arbitration, including the physical address and email. Serial number 24 seeks to answer the question as to whether communication to counsels would amount to communication to claimants for the purpose of arbitration. Number 25 describes the host state. Number 26 provides for describing the address, email, and contact details of the host state. The fourth part of the notice of arbitration, as also this checklist, deals with the statement of facts. In this part, the transaction, which is the subject matter of dispute, is to be explained in detail. This is number 26 of the checklist. Number 27 relates to how the transaction was implemented or sought to be implemented. 28 relates to the acts of the host state which impaired the investment. 29 deals with the efforts of the claimant to resolve the issues and prevent impairment of investments. 30 delineates investments. Serial number 31 states how the state's acts impaired the claimant's investments. Serial number 32 describes the damage to the claimant. With this, we complete four parts of the checklist for invoking arbitration under the ICSID. More to come. Bye bye and take care. And once again, Happy New Year.